Hi everyone, well and wishes. This video we're going to talk a powerful automation workflow using quick test professional automation testing tool from HP company. Before we talk about the technical details of the workflow, let me give you a quick introduction about our company, H2K Infosys. We are e-verified business based in Atlanta. We provide different IT training services on-site and online. If you are interested in any of these training programs, please visit www.h2kinfosys.com, where we detailed different training programs and the content what we cover under each training program. This is our USA phone contact and UK phone contact, and also the email contact. If you have any questions, you are most welcome to contact us by phone or by email. These are the different training services what we provide. Let's talk about the technical details of the workflow. This is a very typical and powerful feature in automation testing. If you look at the automation testing, mainly you are going to test huge volume of data. In the sense, if you are trying to test your application the login functionality, so you want to test with 100 different usernames and passwords, right, to make sure all those different combinations of usernames and different combinations of the password should work in the application. Having said that, if you want to test with 100 different usernames and passwords, those are nothing but the data variations. If you think of doing it manually, how tedious that particular test scenario. That is where the parameterization, which is nothing but testing the functionality like login with different data variations. So today we are going to look at how we are going to create a script, and then how you create a data-driven test on top of it, and then how to output the values. Obviously, whenever you log in or whenever you create certain accounts, so you have to report back what are the accounts that are created by your script. So that's where we are going to look at the output values, and also the recovery scenario is also a very useful feature where we are going to talk about how to handle runtime exceptions. So this is the data-driven testing. Test the application with multiple data variations. So we are going to create a data-driven test. When you create the data-driven test, you are going to parameterize the test manually, and also you are going to create design time data table. Basically, this is a design time data table. What design time data table is going to do is, it is going to read data from user input. Basically, you are going to provide all your test data in the design time data table, and the script is going to read the data from design time data table. And also you are going to capture whatever the data created by the application, which is nothing but the dynamic or runtime data. Like as I mentioned before, your application is going to create different accounts. Then how to capture those account numbers? That's where you are going to use the feature output values, which use the runtime data table. So in the previous slide we talked about the design time data table, that is where the user input, right? You are going to input the data and ask the script to read this data. Whereas in case of output values, there is a runtime data table. That means you are going to output values from your script and store it in the data table for your future reference. Recovery scenarios, runtime error handling. So here you are creating 100 different accounts, and then by mistake you input data, certain input data is wrong. Then your script is trying to execute, and while you are creating 100 different accounts, when it is executing the 5th and 6th row, it come across certain data is wrong. Then what happens? Is your script is going to create that particular account, or your script execution is going to held up at that point of time. So these are the scenarios we are going to create how to handle runtime exceptions or runtime errors. So this is what we are going to look at the workflow. First we are going to create a data driven test. We parameterize, we import data what you get from your team, and then we output values, and whenever any test data issues, how to handle those exceptions. Okay, alright, so let's move into QTP and let's create this workflow. Alright, so here I'm going to create a test. This is we are doing on a web application. So I already mentioned here under automation, record and run settings, because we are testing the web application, go to the web tab here and you're going to mention your application URL. So the one that we are going to test is a billing software. So this is the URL for that application. Okay, and then click OK button. Now we are going to hit this record button and let's quickly record the script. Right, so it's going to now launch the application using the URL you provided under record and run settings. Okay, it's trying to open the application. So it's trying to access that application and it is asking the username and password. So now let's try to input the username and the password. And then so click OK button. Now you should be able to log in into the application, and then you can see different functionality or the modules from this billing software. And here, okay, so your login is successful, and now you see this is how to add a prospect, right? So I'm going to continue with my recording and then select different options here. I'm creating a new prospect here. So from this contact list, just you're going to record all these things. You're going to select from this contact list whatever the contact you want to create. Okay. Right, so I'm going to select from this drop down list. So the type of contact I select, say, service, and then I'm going to give you the first name, something QA, and the last name, test, and then the position or the title. So I'm going to mention QA, and then the address, test, and the city, test 1, and the zip code. Okay, so these are the mandatory fields in order to create a prospect on this application. Okay, so this is the zip code, and then click on this add prospect. So now it's creating the prospect, and it gives you the prospect ID. Okay, so it's creating the prospect. Let's wait, and then once we get that prospect ID, then we are going to capture that prospect ID using the output value functionality. So we got the prospect created successfully, and the prospect ID is 247. Right? Now how to capture this value? So let's go back, and in the QTP you have the functionality, right? The output values. So this is how anyway the script is recorded, and now you go back and select this insert output values, and then we are going to select, say, text output value. Because that number is a text, you are going to output the text. So select this menu, and then so click on top of this number because you want to capture the prospect ID. So this is the output value, because this is the runtime data, right? Whatever the data that creates by the application. So this is the output value properties window. So if you want to change the name of this property, then you can click on this modify button, and then so you're going to say something, the name is the prospect ID, right? Prospect ID or the prospect number. Then click OK and click OK. Okay, so now you can close this application, close the browser, and stop recording because we are done with the script. So that is how the script is recorded with the output value. Now you get a request from your team, right? You get a request from your team asking to create maybe 100 different prospects. How you are going to get that request? Probably your manager or one of your team members is going to send a Excel sheet like this, and then they say, hey, can you run your script with all this data, because they are going to provide this data, right? Anyway, right now we have 3 different accounts or the prospects you're going to create, but maybe tomorrow you'll get 100 different prospects you have to create using your script, because that is the powerful feature of automation, right? So once you get this data, right, whatever the things that we recorded, right, say contact, first name, last name, title, address, city, and zip code. So you are going to get this data from your team, and you have to use this data in your scripts. and then you have to run your script to create different prospects. So how to use this data? So basically you can directly import data from the Excel sheet, right? So how to import data from Excel sheet? So basically you are going to go to the data table, say select view data table, then you see the other different tables, like you get the data table with the prospect ID. This is the output value, the one that is already created in your script. Now you are going to import your data into the action 1, because this is the action 1 script. So now you are going to import that creates your prospect, right? So let's try to import the data directly from Excel sheet. So you can select file, sheet, and then import from file. So then it gives some confirmation message. Click OK. So now you should be able to select the data. Anyway, the data is on the desktop. So go to the desktop, and this is the Excel sheet, what you get from your team. So now we are going to select that Excel sheet and click open, so that you will get all the data. Oh, so this is what actually you have to take care, because these are the real-time issues. So what it's saying, you cannot open this file before, because it is opened by another application. So whenever you want to import data, you should close the Excel sheet because it's already opened. So let's close this and then close your Excel, and now you go back and do the thing again. So again, right click and then import from file. So now you get the confirmation again. So click OK, and now you're going to select the Excel sheet and then say open. Okay, so now you're getting, okay, which sheet you want to open? The sheet 1. Click OK. So now you got the data into the data table. So your script is going to use this data. So the next part is the parameterization, right? How to read this data into the script. So click on this keyword view. Keyword view or expert view, both are same, because keyword view, most of you people familiar with this keyword view. So let's do that way. And then, so here, the prospects. So expand this, and here this is the service, right? So now we are going to do the parameterization part. If you're not sure what this line is doing, you can always take the active screen. So that explains what that line is doing, right? So wherever you select the line, so it's going to bring you the snapshots. So that way you can also identify and you can explore the script. So here you're going to click on this button, configure this value button, small button here, and you're going to create the parameter. So now we are going to select the parameter and then go to the current action sheet, and now we are going to select the existing parameters from this list. So what it is, this is the service. So now we are going to select the service from this list. Okay, that is contact, right? Then click OK. Now the next one, the first name. Okay, so this is the first name, and you're going to again click on this button, and again they select the parameter, and now you're going to select the action 1 local sheet, and then now you're going to select the first name, right? So this way you're going to complete the parameterization part, then click OK. Then next one is the last name. Again, do the same thing. So parameter and current local sheet, then you're going to select the last name, then click OK. And the next one is the title, so you're going to select the title, then to the parameterization part, click on this parameter and local sheet, and the next one is the title. Okay, and then click OK. And the next one is the address. And again select the parameter, local sheet, and the address. Okay, and next one is the city. So we're almost close. There are two more left, and this is the city. So local sheet again, and the parameter is the city. Then click OK. Finally, the last one is the zip one. So select the zip code parameter from this parameter from local sheet, and you're going to select okay, so now we're going to select the zip, then click OK. So this way you parameterized everything, right? So that your script is going to read data from this. And let's save the script so that we don't want to lose the things whatever we did. So I'm going to save the script. Okay, so it's trying to save. So I'm going to give the script name something the QTP demo. Okay, so this is the script name, and save it. Alright, so the script is saved. Alright, so now we are going to execute the script. So just give me one sec. I want to make some settings here because I want to remove the existing recovery scenarios, whatever is already created. Okay, so let's remove all these things. Alright, then apply and OK. So now your script is ready. So we created the script, and also we did the parameterization part. So now and also we did the output values, right? These are the three features we covered, and let's try to run the script. So click on this run button, then click OK, and you can sit back and then see what happens. So literally, like, your expectation is that all these 3 rows has to be executed, and then it has to create 3 prospects, and then at the end of the execution you should see what are the prospect IDs that are created. Okay, so let's see. because these are the real-time scenarios just you should think of. The thing is, like whenever just we create the script, particularly in this data driven testing, so we do simple mistakes, and that cost a lot, because your manager sends you all this data, and his expectation is that so the application has to create all these prospects, and then he is expecting mail by the end of the day, right? What are all the different prospects that are created? So that's where actually, like, even you did your part correctly, right? So you enter all the data, you created the script, and then you start executing, and then go for lunch. Even once you come back from the lunch, so you see some wonders, right? So that you didn't expect that kind of things in your script execution. So let's see what happens. So now actually it's doing perfect so far, so because it's trying to enter all this data, right? So user, the contact, even if you look at the underlying data table, so user, it entered the contact and QA1, test1, and then prospect name is prop1. So that's how it's creating that particular prospect. So far so no problem. So it created successfully, I think, because when you look at this progress bar, okay, so it created successfully 248, the prospect. And now, so it's going to close this application. Now it's going to capture that prospect ID, then close the application, and it goes to the second iteration, right? Okay, see what happened to your second iteration, because your script execution is stopped. The problem here is, see, you did this record and run settings. That's how actually you open the application, right? So if you do this way, the application is going to open just one time, right? So whenever you want to open multiple times, then you have to use the system util. So that's where, because you don't want to open the application from system from record and run settings, so that's why you're going to select this first option here and then say OK. Instead, you go to the script, and then now we are going to open the application using system util object and run method. So this is the other way how you can open the application using QTP. Particularly this option is useful whenever you want to open application multiple times. So here you provide the application URL. Okay. Alright, so now let's try to run the script. Yeah, these are the simple mistakes we do. Just you feel that okay, because you did the record and run settings, and if the application is going to run, it opens, but it opens just one time. Because these are the things I can do it initially at one shot, but I want to explain, okay, what are the things that is going to happen, and then how to solve those problems. Okay, that way you will be more comfort, and then you can work on this any project using this QTP. Otherwise, like, you have to do again, Google it, and then go to different other forums, and then see, oh my gosh, why the application has opened one time. I'm using this record and run settings. So then you have to do some kind of exploration, R&D, and thing. Then it's trying to open the application. Alright, so the application is opened. Okay, so it input that username and password. Here sometimes the problem what happens is if your script execution is too fast and the application is very slow, that's where you might have noticed one kind of pop-up message that's coming up. So the synchronization issues that we can handle separately. Okay, so in my next videos we're going to look at how to handle that kind of synchronization problems. So here also, like you might have seen, the script, it didn't enter the contact type because what's happening is the script is too fast whereas the application is not responding in time. That means your script execution is not in sync with the application speed. So just you have to make sure both are in sync whenever you run the script. Okay, so that's where you're going to do the synchronization part, and then you're going to say there are different ways how you can handle this kind of issues, the synchronization. Either you can wait till that particular object exists or it gets enabled. So that those things we're going to talk about, the synchronization problems, how you can handle them in a separate session. Okay, so now actually that the prospect 249 is created. Now it's going to capture this and then it closes the application, and the next one is going to open